Some players in the NBA have been known to hate their teammates. Starting off, here's an all-time NBA great who had an all-time terrible relationship with one of his teammates, Kobe Bryant and Smush Parker. As far as modern-day NBA careers are concerned, it's hard for anyone to match Kobe's. He managed to cement a place for himself in the Hall of Fame thanks to his multiple championships. But even being one of the best players in history didn't save him from running into issues with his teammates. Bryant especially clashed with Smush Parker.
I was devastated.
Who came into the Lakers after their early success in the 2000s. There's even a famous story of the two clashing during practice, with Kobe telling him to wait until he got more accolades before Parker could start talking. And fans felt like it could definitely be seen in play too. Parker stated that he'd go out of his way not to pass to Bryant. He'd only pass to Kobe if he absolutely had to and there was no one around him.
No, not really. I mean, there's really not much to say. I mean, I said what I had to say. What's he gonna do? Yeah, Kobe's right. You know what I'm saying? How much you can really say?
You were on the radio station for 35 minutes.
I'm sure he did. I mean, I gave him his little 30 minutes of fame again. It's all good.
How's the shoulder?
I wish him the best of luck.
Bush didn't last too long in the Lakers. He left after just 2 seasons. And Kobe dismissed his former teammate by saying that Parker never really even belonged in the NBA in the first place. It's fair to say that the two didn't exactly have the best camaraderie, much like the next two people on this list, Rajon Rondo and Ray Allen. Usually, when people retire with 2 NBA titles, you'd think people would remember them in good terms. But that wasn't really the case when Ray Allen retired. When Rajon found out that his teammate was retiring, he replied back with a very snide remark by saying that he thought Allen had already retired. Though to people who are aware of their relationship, this shouldn't really come as a shock. Their time together on the Celtics didn't exactly go too great. The two fought a lot, despite helping Boston to a championship. The amount of tension between the two teammates was immense and continued to amass during their run. Both the players felt like the other just wasn't giving them the ball enough. Plus, Allen saw Rondo as a rookie, which made it weird for him when Rondo wanted to be the leader. Then things got even worse between them when in 2009, the Celtics wanted to trade both Allen and Rondo to Miami. It became obvious to just about everyone how neither of the two wanted to be paired up with each other anymore. These next two teammates were just as much of a train wreck from start to finish. Steve Nash and Dwight Howard. Sports Illustrated once depicted these two teammates in Lakers jersey with the tagline, "This is going to be fun." And indeed fun it was, at least in the same way that watching a garbage fire rage is fun. Things didn't really start off great for these two teammates. Kobe was the clear star of their team, but his leadership left a lot to be desired. He wasn't able to get 2 veterans like Steve Nash and Dwight Howard in line. Because of this, frequent clashes between the two became the norm, and fights broke out over ball control. All of this meant that there was a rampant miscommunication in the team, and fans even got to witness this on live TV. At one point, Howard was held back because of some injuries that he had, and Nash accused him of simply just not trying hard enough. As these issues between them began to surface more and more, it started hurting the team. Nash later went on to say that he didn't want Howard to ever be a Laker in the first place, and when the team got eliminated in the first round, Howard eventually left. It seems that the only thing these teammates managed to achieve together was a lot of infighting. It's hard for teammates to get along when they have just too much ego and pride. Kind of like with these next two teammates, Michael Jordan and Kwame Brown. Jordan always rubbed his teammates the wrong way, and a big part of this was the colossal-sized ego that he had. His competitive streak required him to be the best, and this was the case even when his excelling came at the cost of others. He knew he was the best, and the 6 championships he brought for the Bulls more or less proved it. But because of this attitude, he ran into issues with teammates, and the worst of it was the stuff he had to do with Brown. He was the number 1 draft pick, a mean that could potentially rise up to Jordan. And so, Michael went out of his way to make sure that the kid couldn't reach him. He'd constantly slam his efforts and make sure that Kwame couldn't beat him at anything. Many people believe that it's because of Jordan that Brown couldn't live up to his potential because he was always being cut down from within. Kwame has made his dislike for Jordan quite apparent too. As good of a player as Michael may be, his own success often came at the cost of others, and he made sure that there was no one out there that could challenge him or live up to him.
Well, no player is going to experience their idol talking to him in any kind of way. Michael has never brought me to tears. Did he upset me a lot? Yeah. I mean, he's a competitor. That's what I think it's much to do about nothing. So many people want to make up stories about Michael Jordan that he could have been the greatest guy in the world to me. They still would have made up something.
Sometimes the friendship seen in court doesn't translate into real life. And that's exactly what happened with these next two teammates, Kyrie Irving and Dion Waiters. Despite being claimed as the NBA's best backcourt, Irving and Waiters didn't exactly have the best relationship off of the court. Much of this was because of how much the two clashed with each other. Irving had remained the #1 pick for the Cavs and was expected to lead the team into a championship era. But Waiters thought that he was the better player overall, and this led to some obvious conflicts arising between the two. Eventually, the conflict between the two began to escalate, and that affected the Cavs' ability to win too. Coaches and managers of the team tried their best to keep them from attacking each other so often. And with LeBron James arriving into the mix, things looked like they may turn around. But the only way things calmed down between the two was when Waiter went to the Thunder. In the end, he missed out on a title, but it's probably for the best that he was far away from Irving. Sometimes a team works great, until it just doesn't. And to see an example of that, you needn't look any farther than these next two teammates, Magic Johnson and Maurice Lucas. In the 1980s, the Los Angeles Lakers were a force to be reckoned with. Much of this was because of Magic Johnson, Pat Riley, and Jerry West. But things quickly became bad for them when West decided to add Maurice Lucas into the mix. Lucas acted like he was the one who had multiple championship rings on his team. He had a mouth on him that was almost always open and arguing. And it was obvious that he was always dying for attention. Eventually, this began to bring his team down, especially Johnson. Things went from bad to worse when Lucas realized he was stuck in coach for a flight and started throwing a temper tantrum. Riley and Magic clashed a lot with him and tried to get him to shut up. And this lack of friendship led to issues in the court too. Eventually, the Lakers lost to Western Conference Finals, and Lucas was immediately shipped to Seattle. That's one way to deal with a non-cooperative teammate, I guess. Anyway, which of these NBA teammates did you think hated each other the most? Let me know in the comments below.